the United African Fan. My name is, of course, Daanyaal Matthews, and this is, of course, the United African Fan, and this is, of course, a reaction to the latest news coming out of the Europa drawings. That, of course, being that Man United will be having to face Barcelona at the knockout stages of the Europa Champions League. This news does not come well for me personally. For me, this is kind of terrifying. The team currently right now is tired, as we saw in the previous game against Aston Villa, where we got completely spanked. We got completely whooped, played like we were a noob on FIFA. We were just completely just whooped. And that kind of showcased the reality of how fragile our whole system is, how fragile the entire team is at the moment, both because of fatigue and because of the reality that, well, some of them just aren't up to it. Some of them just can't make it, and some of them just can't compete in those big games. And now we're going to be facing one of the biggest games, in my opinion, of the year. Because Barcelona, while having a momentary lapse in both judgment, in both financial terms, and because of how they set up, this is still going to be one of our hardest matches so far. Do I believe we will win it? I have to believe it, but am I excited? Of course, because this is going to be one entertaining game. But right now we are going to be having to face Lewandowski, Dembele, Rafinha, De Jong, the guy we wanted. We're going to have to now face at this game, and yeah, I think winning this game will make us way better in terms of actually getting him onto our side. But us getting there, it's another discussion as a whole. Right now, Barcelona sucks in regards to the reality where they're facing big teams in Europe and both in La Liga. Now, the reality of why they suck is because they utilize the same strategy continuously. They try to do the same thing over and over again. That is, of course, Rafinha, Dembele crossing the ball in, Lewandowski being there, slam it in. When De Jong is on there, it's a little bit different because they have way more control. Unfortunately for us, PK has retired, and PK would have been absolutely amazing in that game for us, as his slow and steady approach would have allowed us to easily break the defense. Now, the Barcelona defense in reality is not that compelling. However, our main issue is not really our defense, more so our forwards, and the lack of our forwards actually being able to compete. We will be needing every single player to be at their very best and perform at the mentality that they showcased against Tottenham Hotspurs, that of course being our most convincing game. Now, will we be able to do that? I have no fucking clue. The reality is that once we go through to the World Cup and once we come back in December, our players will be absolutely hammered, absolutely tired, and we will have to utilize them both in Premier League games and of course in the EFL games and of course in the Carabao Cup games, and of course now versing them in Barcelona in the Europa League. This is by far one of the worst matches we could have gotten. I would have loved to get Juventus because they are way more wishy-washy, way weaker than Barcelona. When they're not functioning, Barcelona is functioning, and when Juventus is functioning, Barcelona is a far better side. Juventus is way off with Allegri. He doesn't know what he's doing, in my opinion. So right now, we are faced with a predicament that we haven't been faced with in a very long time. We have a squad that isn't up for it, and even on their best, it's kind of iffy if they will even be there. Of course, if Ronaldo can perform on that game, maybe he can bring back that Real Madrid spirit he had and actually showcase to them that he never left, that even in Spain, he still makes them their bitch, makes him their bitch. But yeah, I am not looking forward to this game from a Man United perspective, from a fan perspective, and an entertainment value. Of course, this is going to be exceptionally entertaining. It all really demands on how good our defense gets. Because of our defense being as fragile as it is, we can best hope for Varane getting out, not performing in the World Cup, and actually coming to us fully fresh, fully healed. Now that is going to be sucking for the French national team, but for Man United, that's going to be probably our best case scenario, because we cannot rely on Martinez all the time, because if Martinez is playing in the World Cup and he isn't performing as we saw in the previous Aston Villa game, if he doesn't perform, the entire back line just falls apart. Sure, is going to be playing. Dalot's going to be playing for Portugal, and Ronaldo's going to be playing, and he's already playing 90 minutes. We are in a very tough, sticky situation, because we have players that will be used for the national team, and we don't know what we are going to do. I don't know how to react to this entirely, because I think in terms of strategies, if our strategy works, then of course we go forward and we of course do absolutely fantastic. If our strategy doesn't work, if we struggle, if we do not go forward, if we get pressured and our team flops, we will be fucked. The midfield will be put on this intense pressure. Casemiro is obviously familiar with Camp Nou, and he probably knows his way around there himself, but realistically, can he essentially keep it all together? Can he hold that team together in the midfield? Because that's where we need him to be. Because Eriksen surely cannot. The issue with Eriksen again, physicality, work rate. Work rate, great. Physicality, not so much. Eriksen is not good on defense. Eriksen is only good when he is allowed to do what he is supposed to do, and that is, of course, be the playmaker. We're going to be needing Bruno to be at his absolute finest. We're going to need him to push up the gears. We're going to need him to be at his full capacity. And can we do that? I don't know. That's how seriously weird this whole situation is. Both teams are at their worst at the moment. Both teams are in the recovery process. Both teams have new managers that are trying to move them in a different direction, and both teams' managers are still trying to find their way. Xavi is making a lot of mistakes, but he's learning slowly but surely, and he's recovered in La Liga. La Liga, they are not that bad, ladies and gentlemen. They are second, I believe, just under Real Madrid. They probably won't win La Liga, but they probably will get second, and they may even win a Copa del Rey. Who knows what the hell they fucking win. We, on the other hand, are in a completely different situation. We are currently sitting on 6. We are currently not anywhere close to the likes of Man City or Arsenal. Oh, well, no. We are not close to Man City. We are close to Arsenal, in my opinion. We did win them, or beat them at home. So that's one plus that we have. But yeah, right now it's not looking good for Man United. In my opinion, this draw could not have come at a worse time. It could not have come at a worse time because we are still trying to find a way to make our team work. If Van de Beek worked, if Van de Beek performed, this would not have been that bad, because then Bruno, who is going to be working his ass off in the Portuguese team, could then be swapped in for Van de Beek. Van de Beek could then play in that 10 position and try to make the system work. Remember, our midfield and our forwards are our biggest problem, more so the forwards in the midfield. Our forwards just have a lack of finishing. Now, of course, Rashford is bettering himself both in the finishing capacity, in headers and in pace, but he's also offered, as you all know, Rashford can only play on the left wing. That's his only position he can play in. If you play him in any other position, you risk failure at an epic fucking rate. If Rashford's on the right, he disappears. If Rashford's in the center, he disappears. Rashford has to be on the left. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want Rashford. I don't want to say this about Rashford, but he needs to be there. Anthony needs to be at tippy-top shape. Sancho, even Sancho we need. Garnacho, we can't trust Garnacho in that game. Unless Garnacho starts and he just does a fucking worldie and pulls a fucking Ronaldo 2007 or 2008, 2009 out of his hat. I forgot if he was at 2009 no, 2009 was in Real Madrid. Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, pull a Ronaldo 2009 Real Madrid style. But yeah, I have no other words about this situation. We should not be in this situation. We're only in this situation because we couldn't finish it. Also, that clean cut clinically. And now we sit where we are. If we had finished them as we should have with 2 goals, this would never have occurred. We would be at a way better position. But unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, this is exactly how the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately. So yeah, glory Man United, glory, all that fucking shit. Let's hope that Dembele has his worst performance, as he usually does when he's wishy-washy in European competitions. We need to hope that he doesn't perform as well as he should be. On paper, Rafinha and Dembele will be our biggest hopes of succeeding. De Jong will pull that team together, and he will prove to the Glazers exactly why he needed to be purchased and exactly why he is so needed by Ten Hag and why Ten Hag values him so much. Yeah, this is not looking good, fam. But hey, glory Man United. I'll see you in another episode.